What's happening, fam? L.A.R movement still moving. Book is entitled Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. A link will be in the description box below. As usual, this video is entitled You're Not Entitled to Forgiveness. Some things happened in my recent past that sparked this video. There are people who may be in your life, whether they be family or friends. I've probably done this too, who are accustomed to drawing outside of the lines, or is a habitual line stepper. And the thing about that is, there's a certain type of person who knows they're going to do wrong, who knows they're going to do you wrong. And to a degree, they kind of, because they know people's nature, they play on people's nature. Kind of like what I was talking about in the video with, when I was referencing Luke Cage. But the thing about that is, you know, they think a sorry will suffice. And I remember my grandmother telling me, you know, I used to tell her as a kid, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. And she said, yeah, you sure is. And as a kid, I thought she was saying she knew I was remorseful. But as I smartened up, it's like, no, you sorry. Like, you keep doing sucker stuff. And, you know, and understanding that difference made me smarten up and not do stupid stuff. But, you know, I do have to recall, you know, family and friends who I know their nature. And I know they know my nature. And they would do things that were dead wrong to me or other people, but they always had this thing where, we family or we friends, we cool, so we could get past this. And I think me personally, I hit a wall with that where it's like, nah. Because I believe if you continuously do something, it's a habit. And I had a conversation with my mother recently about this. And, you know, she was asking me, you know, of a particular family member who felt, you know, who I just don't fuck with. And it was like, you know, I know you don't want to hear nothing about them, but like, I don't really care. If, you know, I'm indifferent. It's not like I wish the worst for them. You know, I don't care about them like that. But what I was telling my mother was, my issue with them was what they did, but when everybody was telling me to be forgiving, I was like, no, because that's who they are. They're gonna do it to somebody else, thus, because they had a history of doing it. So when I'm out of the picture, they did it to somebody else. And I'm like, this is why, you know, people are not entitled to forgiveness, because they want your forgiveness for what they did to you, but they continue with that very same action. So, you know, just because they're not going to play you because they did it to you, they got caught, not supposed to be squashed, doesn't mean they're not going to do it to somebody else. And the reason I bring this up and I'm saying these things is, I know people who are indignant about that. And what I mean is, they're accustomed to burning bridges. And, you know, charm, swag, they feel they got the gift of gab to talk themselves back into your life and your heart. And if you don't let them back in, they get angry at you because they feel like they're entitled to your forgiveness. You know, I know somebody who likes to say, you know, I'm only human. Everybody makes mistakes. And I'm like, really? That wasn't a mistake, though. That's like your 5th time doing that. And that's like your 4th time telling me that everybody's human, everybody makes mistakes. And it's like living that ideology that, you know, I can be a screw up in life. Because I learned, you know, because I see this I learned this from watching people older than me who were screw ups, who always had somebody to bail them out. And they felt like they was entitled to forgiveness because of the relationship. And not really taking into consideration that, you know, you can wear out your welcome. Whether you're family or friend. You get what I'm saying? Or boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. That you gotta take me back and you gotta let this slide, and you know, I'm a person who does things that, you know, we're not that you wouldn't do type thing, gets old. Very, very old. Because somebody's always left to clean the mess up. And the thing about cleaning the mess up is this. It's different if you're a person who cleans up your own mess. But when you feel like you're entitled to forgiveness, I've watched people, after you fix one problem, they create another one. And it's like you put out one fire, you put out one fire over here, they start another one over there. And usually they keep starting these fires to get your attention off of what they're really trying to do. And this is why I say you're not entitled to forgiveness, because I watched a pattern of people who don't necessarily rob Peter to pay Paul, but they take advantage of your kindness, and they expect, because you got a kind heart, that's an opportunity for them to drag you down in their little plan or whatever plans they got. And for me, that's aggravating. You know, me having people who they're, and I think I've said this before. Like, I know people who act really heartless and merciless when they stabbing you in the back or cutting your throat. But then they want mercy, and they break down into tears when it's time to pay the cost. And those two things don't equate. Like, you know, and partially this is why I say you're not entitled to forgiveness, because a lot of times I've watched people not want to pay the cost. And, you know, act like it doesn't exist, sweep it under the rug. And sometimes I can be vindictive, personally. I can be petty. I'm not really vindictive and petty as a person, but I'm more of a, if I take it to you, you deserved it. Like, it's justifiable vengeance in a sense. That's how I look at myself. But, you know, if I do to you what you did to me, it's unforgivable. And this is why I say you're not entitled to forgiveness, because if I do, and I've done this to people. Like, if you've done something and you've wronged me in a particular way, and I know that's who you are, and you wrong somebody else the same way, I do the exact same thing to you. And then all of a sudden, it's not like, you know, if I could dish it, I could take it. Now, I'm actually more of that kind of person. If I do it to you, it can be done to me. It's not a big deal. But I noticed those people they could dish it, but they can't take it. And they want an immediate apology and you to give them restitution when you put a them on them. And it's like, this is why you're not entitled to forgiveness, because what you're really saying and doing is, it's good for me to do, but it's not good for you to do. I'm going to do it again. And when I do it again, you're going to be there to say it's okay, but it's not okay. But if you do it to me, I hope you spend, infinity in hell. Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell. So it's kind of that type of situation where it's not real. And because for me, I know it's not real and it's fake, I ain't buying it. Like, you're not entitled to my forgiveness. Because, let's be real, if I forgive you today, you're going to do something else next week. And there's going to be something in the same wheelhouse but different. And that's one thing I learned, and it made me start to despise certain people. When they cross a line and you're like, don't you ever do that again. And they're like, okay, I'll never do that again, because I could tell you don't like that. But they'll do something similar, but not exactly. You told me not to do that, but this is kind of different. This is not the same thing. This is you want to be a technicality fuck up. Okay, I'm going to technically hit your ass in the kneecap. How about that? I ain't, next time, I'm not going to hit you in the kneecap. I'm going to hit you in the shin. It's different. I'm going to stop being silly, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.